Is it possible to become an AI engineer in just 1 year? Can 365 days really be enough to not only learn the necessary skills, but to secure an AI engineering job? I want to see whether it is possible to start from zero and become an AI engineer in just 365 days. You've probably noticed the internet is overflowing with videos promising you can become a software developer, break into the tech space, or even become an AI engineer in as little as 3 to 6 months. But how realistic is that? That's exactly why I'm launching this challenge. I want to see if it's truly achievable and if I can share the unfiltered journey with you. How am I planning on achieving this? I've developed a 4-phase plan that should take me from the fundamentals all the way up to job application. And in each phase, I will link free resources that I've used to maybe learn the skills or develop a portfolio, whatever I will put in. But everything throughout the entire challenge will be free, 100% free. Phase 1, the fundamentals. This is where I'll work on the coding basics. The first part of this phase will be the Python basics. I will use CS50's Introduction to Python by Harvard, and to complement it, I will also use Python for Beginners by W3 Schools for the little exercises that they have on their platform. The second part of this phase will be Mathematics for AI. I don't need to go too in depth into this. I just need to have a basic understanding of what math goes into AI so that when I'm working with these AI platforms, I at least know where they're coming from and have some fundamentals within the math. So here I'll learn linear algebra, probability, and statistics, both of which I will use Kai Academy. And to complement this, I'll use 3 Blue, 1 Brown linear algebra YouTube playlist. The third part of this phase, I will learn Git and GitHub. The free resources that I'll use will be GitHub Learning Lab, and to complement this, I'll use ProGit, the free book to learn Git. And then the fourth part of this phase, I will learn APIs and web basics. The resources I'm going to use for this phase will be Postman API Fundamentals and REST API. And the final part of this phase, I will learn basic web development. That's HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The free resources I will use for this will be the Odin Project, Free Code Camp Responsive Web Design, and MDN Web Docs. At the end of this phase, I plan on developing a simple API-powered web app. Now phase 2. Phase 2 will be the AI fundamentals. The first part of this phase will be learning prompt engineering. So the free resources that I will use for this will be deeplearning.ai, ChatGPT prompt engineering. So in order for me to also build frameworks for some of these projects, I would need to also learn no-code or low-code tools so we can have a baseline towards what we're building. Or sometimes we might just need projects that don't even need any code. So what I'll learn here will be Zapier, VoiceFlow, and Bubble. And the free resources that I'll use is Zapier University, VoiceFlow Academy, and Bubble.io Learn. Since I want to keep this low cost, I'm going to use an open source AI called Olama for my AI APIs that I'll build for the projects. So what I will use to learn Olama will just be the Olama documentations and probably some YouTube videos that I will update further into the challenge. The fourth part of this phase, I will learn LangChain and LangIndex for AI-powered apps. I will just use the normal LangChain documentation and Llama Index documentation. If anything changes during the course, I will be updating in the videos. And finally, I will learn vector databases. So that's with Pinecone FAISS or wavelet, and I will just use the documentation around it. And the project that I'm hoping to build at the end of these lessons would be a simple AI-powered chatbot. The third phase will be building and deployment. So the first part of this, I'll work with the back-end development, that's Flask and Fast API. I'll use the Flask major tutorial, and I'll also use Fast API documentation. The second part of the phase, I will learn AI app deployment. So this is where I'll learn how to use platforms such as Hugging Face and Amazon AWS. And then I will learn how to create AI APIs. That's using Flask API Guide and Fast API for AI apps. And finally, this is when I will learn about design. That's UI and UX basics. And for this phase, this is when I will use the full stack open free React course. And the link will be in the description. Now, the fourth and final phase. This is where we'll now take everything and then put it into the real world. So that is real world application for everything. Now keep in mind that the fourth phase can work in tandem with any of the other phases. For example, the first part of the phase is joining communities. So I don't have to wait until the final phase to join a community. I can join a community at any other point of the challenge. The second part of the phase will be building a portfolio. Since technically I'll be building a portfolio throughout the entire challenge, I will now just have to consolidate it and have it into one place. Maybe build a website where I can showcase my projects and all that. And the final part of this fourth phase will be job applications. So this is where I'll be applying for jobs and seeing whether I can have a lead or be hired as an AI or generative AI engineer or software engineer. We'll see with how it goes. So that's the roadmap. This isn't just about learning. This is about finding out if I can actually land an AI job within a year. No shortcuts, no sugarcoating, just the real journey. And to keep myself accountable, I'll have a timer. And this timer will appear in each and every one of my videos to keep myself accountable and to show you guys how far I am within the journey. If you're curious to see how it goes, hit the subscribe button. Let's find out together if this challenge is really possible.